Dante. The most intense character in terms of moveset, with each game he has evolved for the better and for the worse. In this video, I will offer my version of Dante's moveset. If I don't say some moves, then it will be from DMC5 or the last game where it appeared, such as Combo B from DMC1. If you don't like something, correct me in the comments or make the same video. If my script doesn't sound natural, know that it is. Thanks to BrawlFan1 and Chaos X for the ideas. Which ones, I'll tell you in another video. Well, let's get started. I cannot speak fluently or write scripts properly. I cannot understand English, but let me cook some
crazy meth.
What the hell is this?
First of all, bring back all the forgotten combos, the inputs of which can be played, except for DMC2, aerial versions of combos such as Stinger and Million Stab, and a couple more combos which will be discussed later. The main feature of Swordmaster I want to make, is that all attacks should be the fastest versions of their own presented in the DMC series without turbo, exception from DMC2. For example, gloves, the first 2 hits will be from Beowulf Gilgamesh, and the last 2 from Ifrit, the exception will be Stinger. It's worth returning all the crazy combos, in some cases in their original form, and some will have a holding instead of pressing the button quickly, like Million Stab, but I'll also make new inputs and inputs that are new for certain weapons. For example, if you press the Trickster style and attack buttons at the same time, then there will be these moves from Pinnacle of Combat. Round trip input will be lock on, forward, back, attack button, including a 4-hit combo from DMC1 to the attack button, a 3-hit combo from DMC3 trial version to the style button, and a kick from the final DMC3 as an analog of Stinger. To summon the sword back, you need to repeat the input again, or wait until time has passed. And the version from DMC2 can be done on input, lock on, turn once, and the correct number of pressing the attack button. And in Swordmaster, round trip will be replaced by sword pierce, because it's faster. The upper Million Stabs input will be similar to the Rising Dragon input, but the second time, instead of just pressing, you need to hold down the attack button. And I'll also add the last attack from Dance Macabre from DMC4 and 5 to the input, lock on, back, style button, overdrive, if after the first I don't know, press the Trickster style button while continuing to hold the attack button and release it, then there will be an overdrive from Pinnacle of Combat, the same with the Doppelganger style and the same with round trip and just with attack. Dance Macabre, if there is no S rank, then there will be a version from DMC5 that ends in Million Stabs, and if there is an S rank, then there will be a mix of versions of DMC3 and 5. Including Crazy Dance if you quickly press the style button during Million Stabs. Aerial Rave, if you just press the style button, there will be a version from DMC3, but if you hold the button during the last hit, there will be a version from DMC5 with a large attack radius. This move from MDC3 or Pinnacle of Combat can be done on the side rolls input plus firing button. I'll also add the ability to shoot Ebony in the air, and aerial too sometimes, although it will be more like a honeycomb fire both in terms of input and application, like in this cutscene. And I can also add Bullet Train to the input, lock on, forward, back, style button, and Rainstorm will be on the input, lock on, back, style button. The fans will probably kill me for this. I can also make a DMC2 version if you press the jump button and the firing button at the same time. Do you remember that I will change the inputs of some crazy moves from pressing to holding the button? So the crazy version of Gunstinger will be one of them, and the place of pressing will be the move from Pinnacle of Combat. Plus, just like with pistols, I'll make a special side roll for the shotgun with an additional pressing the firing button from DMC2, and this move can be done on the input, lock on, back, forward, style button. With King Cerberus, I came up with a great idea, to make ice and fire forms not an attack button and a style button, but as switchable versions like Balrog with kick and blow modes, with cutscene animations. I'll do all the moves for the ice form with the same inputs that Cerberus had from DMC3, except Wild Mill and Ice Age. Wild Mill will be on the input, lock on, back, style button, and Ice Age will be on the same input as in DMC5. The fire form will have the same inputs as in DMC5, except that there will be an attack button instead of a style button. The style button will have pole play, which is aerial, which is terrestrial. The aerial version of rock back, lock on, forward, style button will be this move. An air attack will be this. Lock on, back, style button will be this. It's a little complicated about the electric form, but I'll try to come up with something. Flicker will be replaced by Revolution Turbulence. If instead of pressing quickly after Crystal, hold down and release the button, then there will be Percussion, because the movements are very similar. Will Wild Mill be replaced by nothing? Because there is no such movement that would very much resemble it, as in the case of Revolver and Long Revolver. Well, let's say Revolution, I dunno. Lock on, forward, style button will be this, and pole play will be this. I don't have any ideas about anything else. And besides, the most important thing is that it should be from official games, and not to fantasize yourself, because fans will come and say, this movement did not happen anywhere. We're not drawing fanfiction here, so we're moving on to the next weapon. This weapon has only appeared in 2 games in the series, but I have something to add. For example, a propeller on the input, lock on, back, forward, attack button. The finisher of the style attack in the air will be from Pinnacle of Combat, plus with a pause in front of it. And the finisher from DMC3 will be on the input, lock on, back, attack button. And in Swordmaster, I can add some combos from Pinnacle of Combat, since the usual attack will be from this game. For example, this crazy combo, if you just press, it will be this, and if you hold down the button on the last attack, then this. I can also do this attack, which is vaguely similar to the boss's attack, but what is the input? Lock on, twist once, attack button, or just simultaneously pressing the style and attack button? I'm undecided. This weapon was also in 2 games, however, in its last appearance in Pinnacle of Combat, it became more playable. However, this is a mobile game, and I need to distribute everything under normal devices. Let's do this quickly. Attack on the style button, plus air version, plus with pause, analog of high time but instead of the attack button style button, analog of drive about control, normal version of the real analog of high time, upper million stab, air version. Make the jam session a crazy version of reverb shock. Analogs of high side and braking with an inverted direction, an attack button in front of the finisher pressing the style button, lock on, forward, attack and style buttons at the same time, and respectively instead of forward, back. As I said earlier, Swordmaster should have the fastest versions of those or other movements, which is why the first 2 hits without this style are from Ifrit, and the last 2 are from Gilgamesh, since Beowulf has 3 hits, plus a combo on the style button from Rebellion during round trip is literally the same except damage. And the last combo B finisher will be from Gilgamesh, although the crazy version should be returned for Raiden's cosplay from Metal Gear Rising. Beast Uppercut and Rising Dragon will be from DMC3, and Divine Dragon will be the same input as Rising Dragon, but only by pressing the button to the second shine. Straight from DMC4 will be on the input, lock on, back, forward, attack button, but I don't know about the version from DMC3, because there is also Kick 13, which has the same input, and for some, the first will be convenient, and for some the second. Well, straight will be on the input, lock on, forward, attack button, and for Kick 13, the attack button will be replaced with a style button for this input, while if you hold down the style button, there will be a version from DMC4. The volcano input will be, lock on, back, forward, style button. There will be both ground and air versions. Here I can only return grapple to the input, lock on, style button, and that's it, since this weapon is already quite saturated in DMC5. For me, the original inputs of this weapon were inconvenient. To transform into the revenge form you also need to transform into the hatred form, although Dante can, if you look at the cutscene of the presentation of this weapon, switch to any forms independently, so the inputs will be from Trish, and on the input, lock on, forward, the firing button will be a jealous form. It's the same in the air. Volcano, minimum, rising, divine dragons will have the same inputs as other gloves, plus hammer from Pinnacle of Combat on the style button in the air. I will expand the middle break with the version from Pinnacle of Combat, and the original version will be the charged version. The aerial version of the attack. And the friction is done on the input, lock on, forward, attack button. This move will be on the input, lock on, back, style button, because the same input with the attack button is already occupied. I will add up draw to the input, lock on, back, forward, attack button. Pyromania attacks should be made separate, like Dance Macabre, plus in the same way, if there is no S rank, then there will be a version from Pinnacle of Combat, and if there is an S rank, a version from DMC5. Plus an A version.
What the hell is this?
Of course, to combine all the advantages of both versions of the weapon into one, but I'll go further. I'll make these attacks on the input, lock on, twist once, and an attack button with a divided motorcycle, and a style button with a whole motorcycle. It is clear that I will return all the features from the previous DMCs and combine them with the capabilities from the last one, but I will also make a cooldown of the first 3 dashes from DMC3, and the 4th from DMC5. It will look something like this, if you spam the style button. And in DT cooldown, the 3 dashes will spread to all the others. Plus this style should have the fastest version of side roll, I don't know which game though. Leave the ultimate unchanged, Royal Revenge can be done on the input, lock on, back, forward, style button. And Dreadnought can be done on the input, lock on, twist once, style button. I also want to make a separate style for Dante's summoned sword, but only if the player has DSD. Why did I decide to display this as a separate style? Because many combo makers use the DSD feature to summon swords during other moves, and why can't this be brought out as a separate style for banal relief to players like me?
The bloody awful.
All moves will be the same as in the original Swordmaster. I will add only spiral swords to the input, lock on, twist once, style button. And to summon them, I came up with an input of attack and style buttons with damage causing animation. This is exactly what you need to equip DSD for. Well, in DT they will be called automatically. Moreover, the higher the level of this style, the more swords will be summoned, up to 8. And I left the most interesting thing for last, Merciless. Why not Vendetta? Because Merciless has the least damage and the biggest attack radius in DMC2, and this is the most important thing for all other DMCs. That's why some of the movements from DMC2 Rebellion will not receive. But how do I do all these movements with the tilt of the stick? I'll do all these attacks on the style button. Yes, it will be non-standard. Although Cavaliere will argue with this. But it is much better than a stick. Plus all versions with DT. The style button in the air will be responsible for the aerial combo without the helm breaker, and the helm breaker itself will be on the attack button. That's all. If I come up with something, I'll do the second part. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like this video, and you will see the following characters soon.
So, what do you think? What a load of bullshit!